Okay. Hi guys. I am processing a lot of different things. I always rude. I'm Camille. Hi. But I feel like I'm always processing. I'm always going through something. I sleep with a fair amount of junk on my bed, but it's gotten better. But I have two journals on my bed. One's like really positive, where I usually write like poetry, raps. It has to rhyme to go in the composition book. And then I have another one. My dad gave me this for Christmas a couple years back. 2016, 15 or 16. I've actually ripped pages out of here. There's a pencil sticking in there. And it's been a really good journal. I really liked it. It was one of those gifts. It was just really nice to get something that felt really sincere from my dad. So there's that. But shout out to my Switch. Kind of want to play some like light music in the background to like distract me, in the hopes that, you know, whoever walks by my door doesn't hear all of what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it. We're gonna talk about it. And yeah, I mean, if I can find a playlist, cool, and then if not, cool too. And then I'll link the playlist below. I really like Homework Radio on YouTube. They're usually she's usually super vibey, you know. I never do homework to it. So today for me was you know, it was good. It was revolutionary. I let go of a toxic relationship and a toxic situationship, we can call it, and just going through the ins and out of just life. So I'm gonna share really briefly 3 stories, and then yeah, I like to end on a good note, so I'll save the best for last and just talk about my experience as a young woman. I'm 26 now, still young, still a woman, haven't changed. But I've been watching a lot of first of all, I love YouTube, so it's kind of why I wanted to do a YouTube channel. YouTube, for me personally, growing up, was just like whatever the situation was at hand, let me mute this. Whatever the situation was at hand, like sometimes like I would stay with my dad, sometimes I would stay with my mom. And my mom, regardless, just has like different hair texture than me. So going to school and like trying to fit in, like I would have to figure out what to do with my hair, like braids, flat iron, this, that, and the third. Growing clip-ins, when I got some kinky curly clip-ins, like that was it for me, honey. I was doing it. But YouTube helped me a lot. Just like I learned how to braid my hair from watching YouTube videos. And I learned about like self-love and self-esteem and just little tips and tricks and how to be feminine, how to put on makeup, all that kind of stuff. It's not like I didn't have friends to like practice with, but my mom was like, no bullshit with the makeup thing. So, like prom, I got to put on makeup. And then by that time I didn't want it on, and I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But we're gonna jump into these stories. So yeah, so I've been on YouTube today, just really trying to get my mind off of the fact that I really like this guy, and I just feel like I'm trying to hold on to something that I don't need to hold on to. Like, that just ain't it, chief, and that's just what it is. So moving along swiftly and professionally, and like I love watching like medium videos. So I was watching Pedolike, that's like the Latinx channel. Love them. And they did I've seen the video before, but they were like, getting readings from Medium, and I just really like watching that kind of stuff, and just seeing how people interpret and how they get messages and how they deliver messages, and just like the shock on the people's face who are getting read, the like healing and the fun of like remembering their loved ones and all of that. It's because I do tend to watch a lot of like Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's just toxic, dude. It's just like fucks up my mind, and I'm like I don't even want to see it anymore. I don't even want to see it anymore. I'm like over it. But I just kind of wanted to cry. I vented to a friend or two, and I just been, prior to the situationship, I've been struggling with myself, with my self-worth, with how I see myself, with who I think I am, just all of these things. I mean, you can call it shadow work, you call it whatever you want to call it. But I was revisiting just pages in my life and stumbled upon just like something that was really triggering for me, and I was like, oh my god, that did happen. Oh my god, like, why have I never acknowledged that, and why have I never like dealt with that? Like, of all the things that have happened, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Of all the things that have happened for me or for my benefit or to my avatar, right, to like detach myself from the situation, like, of all the things that have happened to me, good and bad, like, I don't know why. So then I'm thinking, I'm like, well, what else? Like, what else have I completely like removed myself from, to the point where I'm just like I don't know, I don't even remember, because I don't want to remember, because it was just like, it was a bad time. So I'm gonna jump into it. I'm not gonna talk about that story because, again, it's very, I don't know, dude, like, it's vague. Like, I can give you the gist of it, but it's so vague. Like, I'm just like, why was I there? Why did I go back over? I remember going back over. I remember thinking, like, why are you going back over? All types of shit. But so I'm gonna talk about work situations, and just like, I was sexually assaulted at work. And I feel like Black women, like, you don't hear about our stories as much. Or like, we don't talk about a lot of shit. I think that's just like the community breakdown. Like, you keep your business to yourself, right? And I want to make sure y'all can hear me because I'm slouching, and I might go sit in the bathroom and talk. But I'm trying to get all this out before I go and take a bath. I'm gonna take a spiritual bath with an Oshun candle, honey, and some bath salts, and just like get her together and let her go. Cause sometimes you gotta do that. I just get so like paranoid, like, oh, someone's listening, someone's gonna hear what you're gonna say and blah blah blah, and like judge me for it. But yeah. Okay. So 3 stories. The first story, excuse me. And again, it's gonna be quick, but the first story was me being sexually assaulted at work. So I worked at Lowe's, you know, no surprise. That was my first real job, and I was a cashier, and I worked in the garden section. And I know it's like, oh, like, you're not supposed to do certain things like put companies on blast or say people's names. It's a great thing that I don't give a fuck, because this was a whole process. Like, I went to HR, like, I did what I thought were the proper and necessary steps. Shout out to Arthur. But, so, yeah. So I was at work one day, big chillin'. I was probably there, like about 2 years. And this was literally maybe a couple months before I was going to graduate and quit. Because when I was graduating school, I wanted to go work in the field that I was studying, which was veterinary medicine. What was I studying? It was vet tech, but you know, they try to make it. I just want to be specific. Like, I wasn't in med school. I wasn't in vet med school, but it was veterinarian medicine as the umbrella. And I'm totally like tiptoeing around this that I'm noticing, but whatever. So I'm at the register, just like hanging out. I might have even been on Snapchat. You kind of like put the phone on the register a certain way and just have it recording. You know, you like fuck around at work. And this white guy, super old white guy, I think he had cancer, which I call karma, but that's not my business at all. His name was James, and he just like watered the fucking plants and like talked to people about plants. Like, I don't know what else he did. And I remember like one day, because mind you, I've worked there for like 2 years now. Like, I'm friends with everybody. Like, these are the big homies, little homies. And just hold on. And yeah, he like comes up behind me and like hits my butt, like smacks my ass. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I like look at him all crazy, and he gives like a gross smile and goes on about his merry day. And so I was super uncomfortable. I don't remember if I told a coworker. I think I did. I think I told like this lady who I kind of referred to as like my work mom. I might have told her. And then of course they ended up doing like an investigation and stuff when I told HR. What I told HR, like I was told to do. And I remember, I think I told my mom and my dad, who are divorced. So it was like 2 different households, 2 different conversations. Just like called one, text one, like, hey, like this is what happened and I don't really know what to do, but I gotta talk to HR and blah blah blah. So I gave a statement and all of these things, and it was very like, well, what did you do? Like, what do you mean? Like, were you bent over? Were you in the way? Was it an accident? Did he bump you? Like, no. I was minding my business. I was here. And he like walked up behind me and hit my butt. And we made eye contact. When I turned around and looked at him like, bro, like, that's not okay to do. And then it was just like, oh, well, did you tell him not to do that? No, I didn't think I had to tell a grown adult to keep his hands to himself and seeing how he doesn't do it to anybody else, that no, I didn't think I had to give instructions about that. Oh, well, maybe that's where the miscommunication is. Like, you should have told him not to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't feel comfortable telling him, so I'm telling you. And it was just very like deflect, like no accountability, no responsibility, no nothing. And it just felt, I just felt very alone and like it was somehow my fault. And I remember, I think they asked people, like called people in for questioning or something. And it was like, oh yeah, like he's hit my butt before, but he hasn't hit, you know, this other person's butt or whatever. And it's just like, you're okay with that? It's like, I mean, no, but you know, it's James. Like he's just like old. It's one of those like go get him coach kind of pat. Like, nigga, I don't know you. Don't play with me like that. Like I don't know you. That's all I can give you. I don't know you like that. Don't play with me like that. You know? And we're at work. We're supposedly in a professional setting. So you shouldn't do that anyway. Like what if a customer saw you? You know, like I just don't understand why so many excuses when it comes to black and brown people, but like let's be honest, right? So that was that on that. And then I just remember like being really hurt because I told my dad and he didn't really do anything. And I guess I just kind of expected him to like do what my brother would do, who was sick at the time. So I don't even think I told Boo. I call my brother Boo. It's a long story, but it's super cute. But I remember like telling him and like expecting him to like, okay, so we rolling up to Lowe's and I'm beating ass. Like, let's do it. Like, that's like, what's up? And although my dad's not that kind of guy anyway, I just expected that. Like, I expected, security, protection. That's what I expected. And I didn't get it. So I kind of, you know, kind of bit that bullet, kind of internalized it. I'm like, oh, like, I don't know, you know. I'm trying not to be like super gross and cry, but that's what happens when you talk about stuff like this. But so yeah, my brother was sick at the time. Like, he might have been passed away if I'm trying to put this timeline together. Yeah, my brother was dead and gone. Rest his soul. He wasn't anywhere around. So I remember thinking to myself, like, my brother would have put a fucking hole through your chest for touching me. And that part of the death kind of really hit me too, because I felt like I didn't have anybody to protect me anymore. And that's no shade towards my dad, but that's just what it was. You know, my dad's very like disconnected emotionally. Like we just don't have that relationship. So moving on swiftly and professionally, I remember like, again, I felt like I was being punished and everything was my fault. And they're like, oh, like, well, we'll just move you out of Garden. Why can't y'all move him? I like Garden. I want to be out here with the fresh air and the flowers and be with my regulars and ring niggas up. Like, what are you talking about? Why do I have to move? So I went inside for a little bit, hated it. And this might have been during my like spiritual awakening. Again, because my brother just passed away, so I was very like hypersensitive to stuff. And I just felt like a lot of radiation and heat coming off of the self-checkout machines, like all types of shit. And I was just like, I can't be in this building. Like, I can't, like, I'm already here for, 8 hours or whatever. Like, I don't want to be confined to this building. Like, I need to go back outside. And it was like, okay, like, well, if you do that, like, I'm assuming everything's okay, and we're gonna have to, whatever, like, throw out the case or like whatever. And I was just like, girl, what? I was like, okay, Jennifer, okay, like, do you, bitch? Like, I know one thing, he touched me again, I'm gonna beat his ass. So then I was on, like, very anxiety, very, like, waiting for the other shoe to drop, like, very, like, on go, like, what's up? And I remember it was, like, a rusty hammer up under, kind of like the counter where you scan things, and it has, like, the little thing to deactivate, the security shit. And I remember, like, we were all talking, and my coworker, who was, like, a really good friend of mine, she knew about it. I might have, like, run around telling everybody, honey, at that point. Like, I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, y'all not gonna help me. Like, y'all gonna hear me then. But I knew she knew, and we were talking, and someone else might have been there. Honestly, I feel like it was maybe, like, a slower day. It felt very holiday-ish. Like, maybe something was going on. So when there were customers, like, there were, like, loader boys, and, like, like, people, like, would move when we had to move. But I remember, like, he, like, came, like, he walked up, and I just grabbed the hammer. I'm gonna use the remote. And I just, like, had the hammer in my hand. I was just like this. Yeah, there's tape on here. Don't at me. I had the hammer like this, and I'm just like staring him down. And my homegirl kind of, like, almost sighed, almost was like, come on, like, we don't have to go through all this. And I just, like, stared at him the whole time with his hammer in my hand. I'm just like, you already know what it is. We done been through HR. It's documented. So if I go across your fucking skull, at least I'll have a case, honey. At least I'll have something to be like, well, back on this date, I did say something. It was recorded. We are here now. And, I don't know. I don't know if I felt empowered. I don't know. I just, like, I was, like, paranoid. And I was just like, I don't want this to happen again. I don't ever want it to be my fault. So I was like, okay, like, if I'm on guard or if I'm on defense, like, then it won't be my fault. Big fucking brain, right? So that was that story. I quit a couple months after that and ended up moving to Atlanta, to Georgia. I'll say it wasn't the city of Atlanta, but I ended up moving to Georgia and just, like, thriving and, like, making my life in the South. And it was pretty cool. And, like, a culture shock. Like, I've never been around so many black people. And I know it's like, nigga, you don't see yourself, like, yeah, bro, like, I know I'm black, but I'm telling you from my experience, I haven't been around that many black people. That's just what it is. Ignorantly enough, like, I didn't even know there was black Muslims. Like, I thought Muslims were, like, Arab niggas. Not even kidding. So when I tell you, like, just everything kind of broadened, and it was just, I don't know, it was just what I needed. Like, everything was new, and I was living my dreams of vet teching it up and just, like, working with these animals. And yeah, so that's one story. So the next story, hopefully this shit low. YouTube like to, they be tripping. I said it. But I love Purple Cat. Go moving here. I just hate the thought of, like, someone's listening. I just don't like that. please ignore my bathroom. There's a lot going on. We're not going to talk about it. So the next story is not sexual assault, but it's some type of assault, and I really don't know how to categorize it, but it was a fucked up situation. And I was genuinely fearful for my well-being. In a workplace setting, in a professional setting yet again. So, my skin has cleared up significantly. But yeah, I really like Purple Cat. I don't know if you're supposed to say Purple Cat because there's like 3 R's. But anyway, so I was working at this place called T3 Labs as a animal care tech. I might have just been promoted. Was I promoted then? I don't know. I might have been promoted. I think I was. I was promoted to vet tech after someone else who had less experience and was a liar. And there was just a couple other things about her, but she played the game well, you know, like networking and socializing. And I was just awkward, dude. Like, I was just trying to figure myself out. And I suffered from this kind of like self-doubt and anxiety, especially professionally, or I just kind of felt like, you know, maybe I'm not supposed to be sitting at this table. Like, maybe I'm not good enough to be here. I don't know why I'm here. The tears. So it was just something I had to deal with, and you know, bless, it was an experience to say the least. And it was a lot, dude. It's always a lot. It is always a lot. Like, this is not like a pretty foo-foo video or moment in time. We authentic. We're real. As real as you can be societally, right? It's like whenever you use like hot trigger words like toxic and real and vibes, like it's like, you know, like okay, like we get it, bitch. Like you think you know, but you don't fucking know. You don't know the vibe. So anyway, so I work for this place. It's been like 2 years roughly. Again, I was there for about 3 years. If I remember correctly, I stayed like at least another 10 months after that incident. Really, I don't remember. Because it was just like such a bad time. I was like, boop, just archive it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Go get some Hennessy. Anything is possible. I used to drink a lot. I used to smoke a lot. Not so much anymore. It just doesn't hit the same. And I'm finding better escapisms and coping mechanisms and things like that. All of the isms. So anyway, working for this lab, super cool. Really fulfilling my own personal dreams and goals of like, my brother passed away from complications of diabetes, and I really wanted to study like kidney and filtration systems and like avenge or just figure out like, you know, why medical science couldn't help my brother. And I didn't see it on a ethical social justice standpoint of like black people are just treated differently medically, socially, classismly, all of the lees and the isms and we're just treated different. And pure of heart, like I didn't see it like that. I was just like, oh, like he's just really sick, and you know, if we figure out diabetes and we do this and we do that, like, I can save someone else and they don't have to go through what me and my mom went through, burying a son, burying a brother, whatever. So I'm working this job, and we had a town hall meeting that morning. It was like 8 o'clock was the town hall meeting, and we gave out meds, right? You give out meds in the morning. Pretty sure the hallway was full, so we had a lot of meds to give out, and we had dogs to give meds to. And I remember these bitches forgot about the meds. Camille didn't forget about the meds because Camille's been doing her job. Her job is important to her on another level, not just a paycheck. It's something that I've wanted to do my whole life. When I was in tech school, I was the only black girl in my class. There was another black girl, she left. We're not gonna talk about it. I mean, that's not, this is not her story, no shade, but I was the only black girl in my tech school, period, in my tech class. And we gonna talk about that shit later. So if you want to hear my horror tech story, my horror tech school stories, shit, leave a comment, because there were some bitches there and they hated me, and I made sure I got my black ass through that. And very determined. And yeah, when they asked like, oh, who wants to be in research, I was the only one. I shot my hand up. I was the only one. And I ended up going, we all did a field trip to UCLA, and I ended up going back for an externship, and I like stayed with my auntie who stayed off of 4th and it's not Slauson. She stays somewhere in the middle of LA, okay? And I would like, anyway, deflecting. I went and stayed with her, got my internship, doing big things. Doing big things, the black girl was. With the Marley twist, because I wore Marley twist forever until I finally was like, I'm gonna lock my hair. But yeah, I'm deflecting or whatever. So them hoes forgot to give the animals meds. I said something. I said, because it's time sensitive, right? If you're supposed to give meds every 3 hours or every 2 hours, you want to give it, at 8. So when you leave at 4, you give your meds, you go on about your business. Like, oh, we gotta stay late, or we're gonna throw it off, or whatever. And in hindsight, like, it probably would have been okay. But I was just trying to do a good job. So I reminded the girls, they're like, oh yeah, like, okay. They're like, the one girl who got promoted before me, she was like, oh, we can pill him real quick, like, it'll be quick, boom, boom, boom. And regardless of if it was my mistake or not, my understanding was, I pill these 3 dogs, you pill these 3 dogs, you write in the charts, we go to the meeting. So that's what I assumed happened. We get back from the meeting, and Dr. Strong is checking the charts, and he just came back from vacation. He does like a yearly vacation somewhere or something, and he went like fishing in Alaska on a boat, whatever which rich Caucasian people do. Like, he was living his best life. Just came back from vacation. So this nigga looking at the charts, right? Y'all just excuse me for being tongue-tied. He looking at the charts, and I don't even know what happened, dude. I think they were doing soap exams or something. I don't know what happened, but he like flipped his shit and he lost his fucking mind. And he was just like, how come this dog didn't get his medicine this morning? Like, all the dogs, I didn't say dick. I don't even think I was in the room. I think I was summoned to the room because it somehow became my fault. The girl who got promoted before me, the bitch who knew so much, she was like, oh, we pilled all the animals in the room. Or she was like, I don't know, it wasn't my fault. Like, just off rip, just like, I don't know, I wasn't in this room, I didn't clean this room, whatever the excuse was. oh, so who did whatever? They're like, Camille. So I'm like, do. Hello. Like, did you do this room? Like, yeah, like we all gave meds before the meeting. Like, how come this dog wasn't documented? Like, I don't know. I thought blah 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 did it. Like, no, like that's not what happened. So how come it wasn't done? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And purely confused, purely just like unaware, not mindful of any like energy shifts, nothing. Like I was just like, I don't know, you know, like for real. And I think, you know, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with that man. I really don't. So Angela was in the room. He's like, Angela, can you excuse us? She walked out the room. He was like, do you have a problem with me? Huh? Do you have a problem with me? No. And it just like, it was so bad, so quick. I thought this nigga was gonna hit me. I promise you, I thought he was gonna punch me in my fucking face, square in my nose. I thought he was gonna hit me. And I was just like, no. And he was like, well, your attitude and your body language. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing that's like upsetting you, but no. And he like kind of bucked up at me like really like about to fight me, like, oh, you want to go, bro? And I was just like really confused and just like hurt and scared and just like I don't know what to do. And I was like getting screamed at for not pilling a dog when it was my idea to make sure the animals got med before the meeting anyway. And yeah, I was just like, oh, okay, like I'm super incompetent now. And you know, so, and I understand, you know, the logistics of it. If it's not in the chart, it didn't happen. And well, this is a deviation now, just a whole bunch of bullshit. So end up doing a deviation. He's like, well, write it in there now. And I was so like mad and I was just like shaking. And I wrote in like really big like kindergarten letters. Like I took up like 4 lines in the chart because I was just like just trying to write it so I can leave. And I remember writing it and I left. And I was like trying not to cry because I was just really embarrassed and just like ashamed. And I stepped out the doors and out the door. It was like the last room in the hallway too. And I stepped out the door and one of my coworkers, he was like, you know, like, oh, don't worry about him. Like, that nigga be tripping. So off rip, like, you heard this nigga yelling and disrespecting me. Like, cool. I get that's your boss. I get that's our boss. But I don't know. I guess that's all they could do in that moment was comfort me, right? And then the woman he dismissed said something to me too. And I was just like, I can't do this. I can't. I don't need to validate it with like, oh, was there something else going on at home? Or like, you know, da da da. Like, just know my fucking feelings were hurt in that moment. And I was crying. And I went and like put my little pens in my little cabinet shelf, honey. And I ran home. Like I ran to the locker room. I changed. I was crying the whole time. And the lady at the front desk, who ended up like leaving, I can't call her name, but she, you know, like she saw me crying. I don't even think I clocked out. Like I just left. I ain't tell nobody what I need to tell you for. I ain't shit anyway, right? So I left. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I went home. I don't know if I had a boyfriend, if I went to his house. I don't know what I did, but I just cried. Like the whole time I just cried. And I called my mom and I was crying. I was just like, I don't understand, like, why he hates me. Like, he was screaming at me. And I was the one who wanted to make sure the dogs were okay anyway. And I was the one who reminded everybody to give the medications. So why am I the one being blamed? And like, I didn't understand. So, yeah, I ended up going home. And the next day I called out, like, I didn't go in. And then I think the day after that I went in, and it might have been like a Friday. So I was like, let me go to work. Because if I did still work Saturdays, which I'm sure I did, I didn't start working Saturdays till like towards the end. I don't have to worry, like, it's not gonna be a bunch of people there. So went in Friday. Everybody was like, are you okay? Are you okay? I heard what happened. How you hear what happened? I wasn't here to tell nobody. So how you hear what happened? It's like, oh, like such and such told me, or it's going around, like, I just hope you're okay. Like, so I'm just the way my mind works. If you know something wrong, someone's been wronged, like, don't you do something? Like, you just, I don't know. You don't check the other person. You just like, hey, you good? I don't know. Clearly. I don't know. Not even trying to be like an asshole. Like, I guess I really don't know. So then it became a whole big thing. Boom, back at HR. And that was a fucking process, you know? And then it was just like, oh, well, what happened? Well, do you have witnesses? Shit, I don't know. You need to ask everybody who's been talking about it, because the day it happened, I literally ran home crying and I didn't show up the next day. I called out sick. But everybody has heard about it and it's going around the building and the office. So just pick a coworker and ask them. Of course, ain't nobody really had nothing to say, you know. Nobody want to lose their job or whatever, honey. Don't want to lose they golden spot. And it was just awkward. Like, one coworker didn't really want to look at me or talk to me after it because he got called into HR and he didn't want to say shit. And it was just like, okay, you know, wonderful man, but there's just a level of disappointment, and again, like, a lack of protection and security for black women, for black people who was on my side, who was helping me out. So I just had to like figure shit out, and I was like really adamant about it and just trying to, like, you know, and it was one of them things like, well, we can't really document a feeling, or we can't really document a look, and we need dates and times and da-da-da. So then I had to start, you know, writing everything down and shit. Girl, somebody sneezed and didn't say bless y'all. Let me write it down. Like, it just became super paranoid. And then obviously, like, I stopped getting picked for like studies, and it wasn't one of those things like, let me shadow this doctor or be up under him to learn, because obviously this nigga hates my guts and wants to punch me in the mouth because I didn't pill a dog, or somebody else didn't pill a dog and blamed it on me, or however you want to, you know, it doesn't matter, but you don't talk to people like that. So yeah, so supposedly he got disciplined, and I remember the HR lady who was like doing the case, she was a black lady, and you know, she kind of tried to have a moment with me, like, you know, you know how certain folks can be, and I was just like, okay, but bitch, you in this office, like, you run this stuff, you HR, like, fix it. Like, help me. She's like, well, like there's only so much I can do because he's, important to the company or whatever. So yeah, supposedly you got some like disciplinary action or something like that, but shit was never the same. And I just kind of feel like in general I was being pushed out of the company, and it just wasn't like welcoming. It was a pretty toxic work environment. Like niggas was just miserable, and that energy, filled the cracks of the fucking hallways and just all over, and it just seeped into you. So yeah, I quit shortly after, and it it kind of bums me out to this day. So I've been thinking about going back into tech work, but I was like, oh, let me just like do something completely different because I'm not very good at this anyway, which isn't true. I just let that affect me, because it affected everything. Like if this doctor won't let me practice suturing, place a long line. What do they call it? We called it a long line. When I first learned it, it was a long line. Place a sheath, place a catheter, place an arterial line, long line. But if this doctor won't let me do any of that, how am I gonna learn? How am I gonna get better? So that was that. That was my second like assault situation. And then to end on a good note, the last but not least story, because we're creeping up on an hour, was back at Lowe's, honey. So I was working at Lowe's, and I just had I had me a hard little cashier day. I was in my 20s. I don't know how old I was for real. I don't feel like doing the math. I was either 20 or 21. And I just had me a hard cashier day, honey. I probably got cussed out a couple times. And one thing I always hated, like, people would try to punk you in Spanish. And I remember my one coworker, Alicia, she like slid in like some superhero stuff. She always had fabulous nails, honey, but she slid in. She was like, skirt, bitch, and pendeja, da 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 da. Like, got with her, right? So, lady, I knew she was like being demeaning, but it was in Spanish, and I was just like, yeah. So that's gonna be 4211. Just gonna swipe your card or whatever. So I remember, like, she kind of came. It wasn't the same day, but just in general, she came to the defense. It was just like, yeah, like she was talking shit to you in Spanish, and I was just like, well, if you too pussy to say it, where I'll understand. I don't know, but it was a hard cashier day, and I was tired. I don't know what I was going through. I know I was working, or excuse me, I was going to school while I was working, so I don't know if I just had like girl pharmacology or something was whooping my ass. And again, I feel like I'm leading up to kind of make room for this to be okay, or like, oh, I was really tired and I wasn't paying attention, so that's why this happened. No, fuck that. I'm minding my business. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Remember that. So my shift is over. I think I opened too, so it was probably like 6 a.m. to 12 or something like that. 12 or 1 or 2 or something. It was like midday. I walked out. And was I on the phone? I was on the phone with somebody, and I remember saying, I was like, girl, let me call you back, because this man not paying attention. Some dude was driving like some big ass darker truck, like looked like a fucking monster truck. And nigga couldn't drive. And it was a Mexican dude. And he like, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he was trying to pull into a spot. So I like stopped and waited, and I was like, okay, let me go to my car. And he ended up like backing back out and like hit me. So honey, I'm on the floor. I remember like I put my arm out, but I was on the floor and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why am I on the floor? And I was just like, I'm so tired. I do not feel like dealing with this. I don't want to deal with this. I remember the guy got out the car and like looked at me and like just kept going. And this random black guy like freaked out. He was like, hey, the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? And like was cussing the guy out. He like ran over to me. He was like, are you okay? I was like, are you okay? I was like, you want me to call the police? He's like, oh hell. And he was like, fuck that. Cause I was like, nah, like I'm just about to go home. I was crying. I was like, I'm just about to go home. Like I'm tired, dude. Like I'm just gonna go home. And he was just like, nah. He took a picture of his license plate. He's like, hold on. He's like, where your phone at? Take my number down. He's like, you need to come back here. Like, you just fucking hit her. You just hit her. You don't care? You just hit her. Like, she's hurt. And I was just like, I'm okay. So the guy was like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? He's such an asshole. He's like, what do you want me to do? I don't know. I don't know. What do you want me to do? He was like, nigga, say sorry. What's your insurance? Who's your insurance? Like, he was like going in. So I was just like, dude, I don't care. So I think he started to call the police, and I was just like, I don't want to do this, you know? And this is like embedded in the community, but I promise you, for black people, the police don't help you, dog. Like, they don't help you with shit. So I was just kind of like, why am I about to do this when it's just gonna be a hassle and it's somehow gonna be my fault that I got hit by a car? It's somehow my fault. So let me go home so I can smoke a blunt and have a cookie and go to sleep, because that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to think about how stressful my day was already. But that guy just like coming to my rescue didn't know me from a hole in the wall. Just like this random black man protecting a random black young woman that he saw will always like hold a special part in my heart. And like, shout out to you, bro. Like, if you see this, like, I love you, and I will always like love and honor black men, you know? Like, my brother and that nigga like saved it for all of y'all. Like, just them two. Like, y'all got it now. Just because he didn't know me from Adam's apple. He didn't know me from nothing, from a can of paint, and he still like went to bat, like superhero, like black man superhero, like a live Black Panther, like swooped in, picked me up off the ground. You okay? Hold that. Nigga, fuck you. Call the police. Come back here. Take a picture of his car. I said come back here. You don't hit her and just walk away. And that's all, like, just throughout bullshit. And especially with my brother being gone, and situations pre and post and blah blah blah. Like, that's all I ever wanted, was just somebody to just feel like somebody else was on my side. So shout out to that guy, always and forever. Girl, and then the next day I went to, like, because I think I ended up filing a police report. This shit happened. I don't even think they wrote the shit down, honey. They were like, oh, well, do you have, proof? I was like, well, let's check with loss prevention to see if they have video of it. So we checked with loss prevention. The loss prevention bitch like, oh yeah, I saw the whole thing. You want to buy me a Gatorade, bitch? Like, you didn't want to, like, hello? Yeah, I'm just waiting for, like, such and such or somebody to reach out to me so I can release it. Never released, never went anywhere. Boo the food tattooed on everybody's forehead, like. But although it seems like it's not the greatest, that is my ending. That is my good Ooh, let me not turn that way. That is my good story. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, so I think I got everything out. If you like this video, nah. But yeah, like, tell me some of your stories. What happened to you, sis? So Black people don't talk about this enough. Black women, I feel like we need more support, and it needs to be normalized, because I see like a lot of non-Black women talk about like, oh, like, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, and you know, they get validation and they get healing, and if we don't talk about it, that shit not gonna happen. So I'm about to take this young fun bath, you know what I mean? We're gonna run the bath water, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.